What's going on, NBA fans? Welcome to the NBA Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Seatman, and coming up, we're going to dive into all of the moves that have went down so far during 2025 NBA free agency. We started off slow, first 30 minutes, no moves came in, but after that, some craziness started to go down in the league. So we'll talk about who were some of the biggest winners, some of my favorite moves, also Jeffrey Cooperstein, some of his favorite moves here. But the massive move that started this whole thing was over there in Memphis. Jaren Jackson Jr. getting that massive 5-year, $240 million deal from the Grizzlies. And then Aldama got the 3 for $52.5. And Dorian Finney-Smith getting the MLE over 4 years of $53 million. Then Paul Reed to the Pistons. Off this list, I think DFS has the biggest impact here, and also Jaren Jackson. I think Jaren Jackson now, when I see, we don't have his rebound numbers up here on screen, but when I see he's only like a 5.5 rebound a game guy for being a 6'11" big, definitely
defensive player of the year.
Still a depoy, but definitely drives me, crazy a little bit. But is it a little much for Jackson? Maybe, but also the Grizzlies, they're clearly going to build around this core of Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson. Then I think the guy that's going to make the most impact in terms of just playoffs next year in the Western Conference, DFS, man. Dorian Finney-Smith, one of the best 3-and-D guys in the league. Super just long, great wingspan, great defender, can knock down the three-point shot. I think he's going to fit in perfectly with what the Rockets like to do there. So I think that was probably my favorite move off this first list. Paul Reed going to the Pistons, not really a big needle mover there, but DFS, man. The Rockets are stacked. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch that team next year.
And the thing with Finney-Smith was weird because apparently the report came out that Rob Pelinka was going to other teams and basically telling them that his ankle was shot, and he did end up getting surgery on that ankle. And it somehow got back to Finney-Smith, so he opted out of his $15 million player option and then ended up signing a 4-year deal at age 32 with the Houston Rockets. So I think this was a great pickup for Houston. And Houston, very quickly, they're one of the most formidable teams in this Western Conference. They might be the favorite outside of OKC.
They're going to run an 11-man unit. They're deep, top-end talent. Like, they check every box that you would want for a contender in the NBA. But some more moves here. Cam Spencer, UConn, the legend, in a 2-year, $4.5 million deal with the Grizzlies. Jake LaRavia, 2 for 12 with the Lakers. Trey Jones, we expected this from Chicago after they let go of Lonzo Ball. And then also D'Lo, going to be the point guard for the Mavs, while Kyrie is still rehabbing from that torn ACL. I like this for D'Lo just because he's got a chance to kind of make a new name for himself in the NBA. I think his stock's very low right now, Coop, but he's got a chance to be pretty successful here for the Mavs. Good players around him.
Yeah, he's going to be able to be the starting point guard for this Mavericks team for the majority of this season when Kyrie rehabs his torn ACL. So we'll see. Look, if he's good, he'll be able to opt out of the second year of that contract. And if he's not good, he'll opt in and get that second year. But this is kind of a win-win, and he probably was the best option for the Mavericks in free agency. Chris Paul is a guy who's still available, but sounds like he wants to stay on the West Coast with either Phoenix or Los Angeles. So I kind of think this is a deal that works out for both D'Angelo Russell and the Dallas Mavericks going forward.
And I would like to see D'Lo hop back in that playmaking bag. Like, if you remember when coming out of Ohio State, we're saying he could be one of the better passers in the NBA. So good players around him, Clay, Flagg, Davis, that great center tandem that the Mavs have. I like this move for both D'Lo and the Mavs.
During that year in Los Angeles, you can see the numbers on your screen. Like, he averaged over 6 assists a game, was pretty efficient from the field as well. If he can get back to that with the Mavs, it's a win-win for both for sure.
No doubt. But you guys let us know. Name a player you want your team to sign, whoever that may be. Drop that name down below in the comments section. Whatever player you want your favorite team to sign. Now, massive trade in the NBA yesterday. Michael Porter Jr. heading to the Brooklyn Nets for Cam Johnson. Love this move for both teams. You're getting a clear upgrade at that 3 spot if you're Denver. Cam Johnson. We talk about role players leaving Denver and them not being the same guy. Well, what about role players joining Denver? Playing next to Nikola Jokic. Like, he's going to have an unreal season. And also from the Nets side of things, like, Jokic is going to be 36 years old in 2032. Could that be a top 10 pick? Like, it's unprotected, Coop. Like, I think there's a chance. And hot take for the Eastern Conference next year, MPJ is going to be an all-star.
You think he's an all-star? Yeah, look, he might put up 25 shots a game and average almost 25 a night. So I could definitely see that. And that 2032 first-round pick, like you said, is going to be very valuable to the Nets in a few seasons. And I think Cam Johnson is a great addition to the Nuggets, and they just fortify their role players as well surrounding Jokic, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon. I think they're going to be a hell of a team once again. They took who was it to 7 games?
The Thunder, yeah.
They took
with
the
a hobbled Aaron Gordon, MPJ was unplayable.
Jamal Murray was Jamal Murray. So they get better, and maybe they're going to be a team that comes out of the West next season as well.
You always got a chance with Jokic. But Ty Jerome also going to the Grizzlies. Like this move, you need a more of a scoring guard, I think, in that backcourt because you got Cedric Howard, athletic, defensive-minded guy, but just a guy off the bench you can throw to and just be like, hey, we'll run 10 pick and rolls a game, and you may average, 1.3 points per pick and roll or whatever it was this past season for Cleveland. So I like that move. And also Nuggets getting Bruce Brown here. Just another guy that can add to this rotation. Another confusing move, though. Kevon Looney going to the Pelicans.
3-time NBA champ heads to the Pelicans.
You drafted Yves Missi last year. You drafted Derek Queen this year. And now you just give Kevon Looney $8 million. I'm a little confused on that. But, Coop, we both love the Cornette deal.
Yeah, Luke Cornette, 4 for 41 for the San Antonio Spurs. And the way that the West is kind of trending is people are just trying to stack up on size. So San Antonio does this. And imagine they run a 2-man big set with Luke Cornette and Victor Wembanyama.
Could still spread the floor with Wemby. I mean, he was taking threes from the volleyball line last year. I mean, he still got Clint Capella headed to Houston. But this move for San Antonio, I think Cornette, like when you ask a common NBA fan, what do you think about him? They're like, oh, he's just all right. But if you ask guys in league circles, like he is a highly valued player, and that's why he got $41 million from one of the best ran organizations in the NBA. So I like that move for San Antonio. Give them some lineup versatility as well. They give a double big look that they really have been able to give with Wemby. And, if you could run Harper, Castle, Vassell, or Keldon Johnson, Wemby, and, Cornette, that's just a cool lineup they could throw at different teams. Because also in the Western Conference, you got to be able to match up with the Thunder.
Yep.
When the Thunder throw out that Chet Hartenstein look, how do you respond to that? I think that's why they added Luke Cornette.
Speaking of adding big men, Clint Capella goes to the Rockets, and the Rockets may be running a couple of 2 big man sets as well with Alperen Şengün alongside Steven Adams and Clint Capella all in that front court. It just feels like everyone's trying to get big.
Imagine you could go Amin Thompson, Jabari Smith, and KD at the 2 and the 3, and then Şengün and Capella at the 4 or 5.
That'd be quite something.
Massive lineup. But we'll talk about more of the moves here in a second. But quickly, if you guys want to get one of these NBA draft hats, we got a link for you guys. Chatsports.com/2025 draft hats. Click that link. Will be in the comment section and description of today's show. I love them. I love the text on these hats. And plus, there's no draft emblem, so you can wear these whenever you want. Like that Charlotte Hornets one is fresh. Even the Spurs one is pretty sweet. So whoever your favorite team is, click that link, chatsports.com/2025 draft hats. All right, as we kick it along here, Karis LeVert went to the Pistons. Nice little depth piece. Brook Lopez, interesting decision to be the backup center for Zubac, but I like that move for Brook.
Yeah, look, he still can shoot it really well. He can still block some shots at a pretty high level. It looked like the Lakers were going to have interest in Brook Lopez to be their starting center, but he decides to go to Inglewood instead to be the backup. Zubac had a big breakout year last year as well.
Yeah.
One of the better centers in this league, so Lopez becomes a backup here.
And Luka Garza might end up being the starting center in Boston when it's all said and done. But another one of my favorites, Nickeil Alexander-Walker going to Atlanta Hawks. One of the most underrated players in the league. I also think there's more in his tank. Like, he was kind of just obviously playing behind Jaden McDaniels. It's not like he was a guy that was ripping 30, 35 minutes per game. But, just think about these 3-and-D wings Atlanta has. Like, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Rishah Shea, traded for Porzingis. I think they are a dark horse in the Eastern Conference, even if they don't trade for Giannis. Trae Young has never had an all-star teammate. I think he's one of the most undervalued and underappreciated players we have in this league. He's a great passer out of that high pick and roll. And if it's just him spraying out the open shooters, like, could you imagine if Porzingis stays healthy, running that high pick and pop, he's coming in off that screen and he's attacking a big, and it's just shooters all around him. He has a kick back to Porzingis. Like, it's just going to come down to decision-making for Trae Young. But both these moves, fantastic job by the Hawks front office, and also they acquired the Pelicans first-round pick for next season.
And they also got Luke Kennard as well on a 1-year, $11 million contract. Like, they are building that team the right way there in Atlanta. And with the East being as wide open as it is it crazy to say that they could be a top 3-4 team of the East? I don't think it is.
I don't think it's crazy at all. I mean, the Kennard pickup, just another look you can throw. Like, if let's just say Nikhil's not hitting shots, Rishah Shea's not hitting shots, all right, just throw Kennard in there, give an offensive boost. So I like that. Also like the Tyus Jones backup point guard role, him and Anthony Black for Orlando like that. And then Plumlee, to the Hornets, and Prince going back to the Milwaukee Bucks on a 2-year, $7 million deal. Then the Knicks on a vet min contract, probably. Jordan Clarkson, averaged 16 a game this past season with the Jazz. Knicks need another ball handler, so I like that. Trendon Watford going to the Sixers on a 2-year, $5.3 million deal. Gary Trent back to Milwaukee. And then SGA signing one of the biggest contracts in NBA history.
$72 million a season.
It's wild, man. Ridiculous. But, I mean, he earned that this past season.
No question about it.
And then Yabusele going to the Knicks as well. Nice little piece for New York off the bench. And the first
Then it gets fun.
Yeah, real shocker so far, free agency. Like, we saw Nikhil, we saw Dorian Finney-Smith, those moves coming, but Myles Turner going to the Bucks. Did not see that. And then the following move, it waived Damian Lillard. Now he's owed $113 million over the next 5 seasons. And then that led this tweet, Chris Haynes saying, breaking, Milwaukee Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo is not pleased with the team's decision to waive Damian Lillard. So could we see a Giannis trade? I don't know. They're probably only going to trade him unless he literally says, I am never playing a basketball game in Milwaukee ever again.
They've been the most active team today, not with only the Turner signing and waiving Lillard. They also signed Gary Harris to a 2-year contract. They traded for Vasilij Micic to be their point guard this season. They sent Pat Connaughton and 2 second-round picks to the Hornets. And then they also re-signed Jericho Sims to be one of their, he'll be their backup center behind Myles Turner.
Yeah.
So they've been very active today, and man, it all comes back to what is Giannis Antetokounmpo thinking about the moves that they're making right now?
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to put too much stock in this Chris Haynes report. Like, until I get a trade request, I'm not really buying too much into it. But well, that's you guys. Well, Giannis, stay with the Bucks. Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no. You guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Yeah, more Bucks moves here. We talked about the Connaughton trade, Gary Harris, Dario Saric. Actually, a sneaky good pickup for Denver. I think Jonas Valanciunas. Could we see a double big lineup potentially? We were just talking about you got to match up with the Thunder, so you can kind of see that being a lineup they could throw out there. But Dennis the Menace getting 3 years, $45 million from the Sacramento Kings. We heard reports they wanted to go get a point guard. Decided to go his direction, so it's probably meaning Russell Westbrook. I don't know where he could go. Maybe it is Miami. But we'll see how that plays out. And then Sandro going to Toronto. And then also, like we said, Jericho Sims back to Milwaukee Bucks. But, guys, make sure you are subscribed here to our YouTube channel. We're going to keep you guys posted with everything around the NBA this entire offseason. So hit that subscribe button today. Appreciate you guys tuning in with us during the craziness of days 1 and 2 of NBA free agency.